Welcome to the Projector Movement podcast. We are your hosts, Charlie and Amy. We'll be bringing you stories, conversations, and life experience as embodied projectors. We first and foremost honour every individual at their core and let human design be a guide, not a rulebook in our lives. We'll dive deep into topics that bring your projector essence alive. This is for you, the 20% of the world that is inherently different than everyone else. We're projectors, we're different, and we love it. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Projector Movement podcast. My name is Amy. I'm a 3/5 projector, and today we've got a really special guest on the show, and I'm really excited for you guys to soak in her wisdom. So today I'm chatting with Sarah Lemmerman, who is a 5/1 Splenic Projector, and she actually works with projectors in her business. Now, Sarah is, I'd like to say, multifaceted in what she does. She is incredibly in tune with herself and in tune with her clients. And I'm just going to tell you a little bit about her so that when you enter into this episode, you'll feel like, I really get the vibe of Sarah because she's truly wonderful. So Sarah has a master's degree in Eastern and Western psychology. She is a plant medicine researcher, an integrative counsellor, and a certified Cambo practitioner. That is just such a vast array of wonderful skills to have. And she really does use her 5/1 profile to lean into all of this. I thought I would read the little blurb from Sarah's website out to you because it really does encompass everything that she does. It says, bridging the worlds of evidence-based scientific theory and Western psychology with earth-based spiritual practice and traditions, committed to practicing with the utmost integrity, humility, and respect. So beautiful. And I will pop this in the show notes, but if you would like to get in touch with Sarah after this, you can head to sarahlemmerman.com and you can connect with her that way. It has links to her socials, all of that good stuff. So I'll put that below. But let's get into this episode because we're talking all about the projector essence today. And Sarah is such a wonderful person to speak to about this. I feel like she really does it justice. And she does it from a place of embodiment and deep trust within herself. And I find that to be truly, truly amazing. So let's get into it. As you would have heard, we've got a very special guest today, Sarah Lemmerman. I'm just so excited to have Sarah on. So thank you, Sarah, for joining us.
You're so welcome. I'm so happy to be here.
Amazing. So we're going to be deep diving into the projector essence today. And now I feel like this is a really important one because we gain mental knowledge of being a projector, but it can often be hard for projectors to really know about their essence and their energy. So we've likely grown up in a generator-based environment, or maybe with other projectors who are living in their not-self theme. So Sarah, I think you are the perfect person to chat about this projector essence topic because you work with projectors and you help them to uncover who they truly are. So I would love to know a little bit more about your work with projectors. Can you tell us about
Yes,
that?
absolutely. Well, again, thank you for having me here. And my work with projectors kind of came unknowingly, where I have been working as an integrative counselor for the last 3 or 4 years now. And when I learned about human design myself, I obviously found out I was a projector and began to incorporate human design with my clients to just get to understand them more. And it just so happened that about 70% of people I was working with were projectors, which I thought was a fascinating just alignment, that all of us, that people naturally that were attracted to me were the same design as me. So in the last 3 or 4 years, I've really been doing a micro study, if you will, of common themes and hurdles and successes, and just, yeah, general overall projector setbacks and successes, to really understand, how being raised in a generator world, like you said, has given us some disadvantages, and then how to rework that into an advantage so we can be successful and aligned.
How incredible, and how amazing that you see into these other people that you work with so deeply, and you help bring everything out to the surface so they can live in alignment. I just absolutely love that. That's so great. Before we actually go any further, I'm always so curious to learn a little bit more about someone's human design chart. Can you tell us some standouts in your chart? Because I feel like whenever I hear that someone's a 3-5 emotional projector like I am, I'm like, oh my goodness, that's so exciting. I've got to learn everything about them. So I'd love for you to share with our listeners a little bit more about your chart.
Yes, of course. So I am a 5-1 splenic projector. I have 4 closed centers in my chart: my root center, my spleen, my throat, and my ajna are closed, are defined. And I'm on the left angle cross of Endeavor 2. So that's kind of the basic overview of who I am.
Beautiful. That is going to be very insightful, I feel like, for people. And our closed centers are actually really similar. I mean, you're splenic, I'm emotional, but the rest of them are all the same. So
really,
that's so cool. Yeah,
amazing.
I love that defined throat and ajna combo. I think it's a fun one to have, that's for sure.
Yes, definitely. And can be tricky sometimes with our throat, but it's good.
Yes, for sure. It's a work in progress, I feel, that one.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So let's dive into your version of the projector essence after what you've kind of uncovered in your beautiful micro studies that you've been taking on. How would you describe the projector essence?
So I like to answer this question maybe in 2 ways, because there is the aligned projector essence, and then there's the out of alignment projector essence. And that's typically where my work is needed. But I will go into first the projector essence if we were in full alignment, which is, our essence is really, we're here to guide people, platforms, the collective, whatever is resonant with you, but we're here to guide. We take in a lot of information from our environments, which, it's what I say is like our 6th sense. We're able to read between the lines, and we're also here to master systems. Our nature is more feminine when we're aligned, so it's a slower pace. We learn through observing, not through action, which speaking comes under action in my world, which is more masculine. So more feminine in nature, more receptive, more sensitive. Our aura is, I would say, maybe the opposite of feminine, though, because it's very focused, penetrative, and absorbing, meaning we're really in an environment, we're like a sponge, we absorb everything. And when we speak, or our presence is just very well known. It's like we have a spotlight that's just bright out into the world, and people can see us. And whether they see us in our truth or in a projection is up to them. So that is in the essence of what a projector, from my studies, is. We have, as most everyone knows, we don't have that sacral center, which is the energy center, which can be looked at as a negative, but the replacement of that is that 6th sensibility to really read things that most people in this world can't, which is what makes us fantastic guides for humanity. And then I would say the projector essence when, oh, I'll add one thing. And this is another plus of being a projector, is that when we aren't aligned, our essence is to actually be successful, is to be kind and playful and resting. And through that, we are able to be successful. Most projectors that I work with are not in alignment, and it's not their fault. So no judgment, no blame. It's, as you said, being raised in a generator world, we are positioned to work hard, to early bird gets the worm, Nike's slogan, just do it, all these really masculine driving energies, which causes us to really burn out, or we're not mastering our ability to draw attention to us through our aura. So we're speaking too much or giving advice to people that haven't asked. And so we're feeling very bitter. And we're unknowingly pushing people away when our truest desires is to bring people closer. So that would be a quick summary, I would say, of the aligned projector and then one that's out of alignment.
Isn't that so interesting? And there's something that you said that I'd love to elaborate on a little bit. Do you feel like, as you've just said, the projector essence is a bit more feminine in nature? Do you feel like there are parts of a human design chart for projectors that might have more of that masculine energy to them?
Yes. Yeah, I would say, and I don't have my chart up. You would think I would have it memorized by now. The arrows. So I think my top left arrows are pointing left, which is my mind is much more masculine. So the way that I think, the way that I'm organized, and then my bottom arrows are pointing right, because I found them fascinating to learn. The way that my actions are in the world is more feminine. This is specific to me, but my top left arrows, I actually think more in a linear masculine way. That still won't replace, though, the way I'm able to be in alignment. I still need to be more slow and more restful and more not doing, but being, which I kind of lump under a feminine way of living. It's not this action, go-getting, forward-thinking energy. It's more receptive.
Yeah, which is, that's not what society says, is it? Like you just said, it's, it's go, go, go. And, there's no time for downtime. And so it's like the projector essence is almost like we're doing things backwards.
Yes.
And, when 80% of the world are doing things in a different way, it can be so hard, I feel like, for projectors to actually believe in the fact that, okay, if I actually do less, then I'll be able to do more. Like, it sounds so contradicting, but it's so true.
Totally. I've said before, I believe in one of the trainings, I use this analogy with clients. We are like Apple computers that have been downloaded with a Microsoft motherboard, if you will. So we've been, we were actually supposed to be downloaded with different software, but because at birth we were just thrown into the same classrooms and the same system and the same job pool, we weren't ever taught or given the right software on how to be in life. So part of the deconditioning process to become aligned is going to feel super foreign, because we have these subconscious programs running in our mind that, well, I need to work really hard, or if I'm not working from 9 to 5, or if I don't have X, Y, and Z, and who has time to play, because all these things as the voices of our parents, our teachers, our business, our bosses, if you will, our colleagues, and then watching other people, whether it's our family, our friends, or society, succeed by pushing and working hard. And then for us not feeling capable, it does take a while to unpack that old software to, upload the projector software, if you will, into the right computer.
Definitely. So yeah, leaning leaning into that fact. If you're listening to this and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I'm running on a different software, it's okay to slow down and take some beautiful pauses and go about your day that way. But yeah, it's not an easy thing. And I know personally, it has not been an easy thing for me. And sometimes I think, like, I love being a projector. And sometimes I think, I just need to get this other thing done. I just need to get this thing done. Then I'm thinking, I'm totally out of alignment right now. I'm not listening to my energy and my aura. Yeah, I love how you've just described all of that. I think it's very easy to make sense of as well. It's so nice to hear it broken down in that particular way. So I'd love to ask you, actually, is
Yes.
there a pattern or a theme that you notice in your clients that seems to push against this projector essence that they have within them?
Yes. There's a lot of themes and patterns that naturally push against our essence. It's essentially what we just talked about, our natural rhythm based on conditioning in our culture pushes against our success or our ability to be in alignment. A lot of people that I work with are either in a job that doesn't serve them. They are trying really, really hard to get their work out there, but it's not working out. A lot of projectors I find have boundary issues where they don't know how to position themselves in life to actually be heard. So there could be pushing their advice onto people. They can be, we can be looked at as the know-it-alls. And because our aura is so focused and penetrative, it hits like 3 times as hard as if a generator is like talking too much. When we talk too much, it really pushes people away, and we're actually trying to get people close. Another theme is impatience. This process of deconditioning takes time, and it's a beautiful thing. But there's this revved energy that we have because we've been trying to survive as projectors as in a generating world. So there's this impatient, I need to get there now. And I try to encourage people to focus on the journey versus the destination as a projector, because we are here to continue to learn, to continue to master systems. I don't actually believe there is a final destination, because once we master a system or we land that client, our interest is going to morph into something else. I know personally, if I look at my life, the different areas that I've become interested in have all guided me to where I am today, but they've taken their own organic turns. So to really trust your desires, and this is probably one of the hardest things to do, is let go of the outcome. If we're attached to having it look a certain way, that's where there's going to be a lot of disappointment, because we're not here to decide who we're here to impact. We're here to be in alignment with ourselves, to have wisdom and trust that by being in life, the right people come towards us. So it's really a process of letting go. And because I would say, just from the projectors I work with and who I know, that's a very hard, it can be a very hard or scary thing to let go, because we've suffered a lot in life, or we've struggled a lot in life, or we've felt unseen in life. And we're dying to get our value out there, because we, in terms of I don't love hierarchical structures, but the projectors came in to guide the future. So we are, in the sense, the top of the pyramid, yet we're feeling crushed because we're not knowing how to actually get ourselves out there. So I find to tell people to find things that you love and just focus there. Yes, it's important to, you have to work, you want to get clients, but let go of the details. And if you can have a practice where you're able to trust in life, the more that you play, the more that you're operating in the feminine nature, that's typically when life will come to you. It's not typically going to happen when you're forcing or pushing yourself on people. And it's, we're going to mess up. Like I can't tell you how many times I tried to tell people about my new work or human design or some of the other things that I do. And I walk away kind of with my tail between my legs, like, oh yeah, that didn't go so well. And I have to laugh at myself because there's no perfect, and each mistake brings us closer to becoming more in alignment. So I would say also last thing would be projectors don't typically carve out enough time to be alone. That can be a place where we feel really defined when we're in connection with other, but when we're by ourselves, because our sacral is open, is like, wait, who am I now? And so that process of being alone can be challenging, but it's so crucial because that's how we recharge. That's actually how we know ourselves. It's hard to know ourselves when we're in a group or when we're with the other, because we're actually churning so much energy that's not our own, that having that time to be with ourselves is the number one, I would say, thing for a projector to begin to feel more aligned and successful and at peace.
I absolutely love all of that. And I can wholeheartedly say, wow, I can see myself in each of those kind of, I guess, not self themes or ways of operating in life, because it's hard to let go, isn't it? You think,
oh my gosh, so
it's
hard.
It's almost like it's a habit for us to live in this generator way, and we can't possibly let go. Like our mind is just clinging on to, no, this is how it has to be. And it's so hard just to let all of that go and let ourselves be who we truly are. So this is so insightful to speak to you about this. And I think as well, society, we're always wanting a quick fix. We want something yesterday. We want it now. There's no patience anymore. So when we are kind of going through life as projectors and we're seeing everyone around us like whiz past and race to this kind of imaginary finish line, and we're thinking, what on earth is going on? Like, I'm stuck in the mud but I want to be somewhere else. And we're pushing and forcing not only our energy but our words and our ideas, and we're using all of this force that we actually don't have inherently within us because we're not meant to have it. So I just find it all so fascinating, the projector essence.
You said something too I'll highlight, which is what I will work with clients on is setting the right expectation for the time frame of change, which to truly change, it is a process. And I know that if we've been suffering and we're ready for the change now, yes, we want it tomorrow, but the way we actually decondition is cyclical. So there's going to be, it would be extremely rare that someone was just able to break it all in one day and the next day they're fully in alignment. I don't think life designed us to be that way. I think it's a process of actually slowly unwinding, because we don't want to go to an identity crisis either. So even just if you're in a 9-to-5 job and you're listening to this, or you're in a job you don't like or whatever, and you're able to just carve out 10 minutes a day just to breathe, that's a huge step. So we don't have to have something so drastic where we change our entire world overnight. So it's setting the right steps for success where you're at. And I think that's just important, because we can be so hard on ourselves because we're these beautiful beings that want to change the world, and we want to do it now, and we can. And truly what my belief is the quickest way we change the world first, especially as projectors, is that we come into alignment, because a aligned projector that is open and listening and perceptive draws people towards us. And so the way you get there can be just 10 minutes a day. I'm going to lay down in between my lunch break. Instead of go on to the next task, I'm just going to lay down for 10 minutes. Or when I get home, I'm going to just put on music and dance because I love to do that, even if it's for one song. You know, setting at the right expectations will, you know, actually yield you to change quicker than if you try to rip the Band-Aid off all at once. The body doesn't actually change that quickly.
Yeah. So allowing yourself that space and time to actually do those things and know that, okay, yeah, I've done it once. It doesn't mean my entire life is going to change tomorrow because I lay down for 10 minutes today. It's that beautiful, like you just said, cyclical cycle. So it's
right.
And nature is a perfect example of this as well.
Yes,
so
exactly. And we are attuned to the mother, to the feminine energy. We are mostly attuned more to nature than any of the other types. So if we really can get comfortable with this cycles of change, and that we are ever changing for forever, it again just allows us to relax where we're at in this moment.
Knowing that we are one with nature, like we are part of nature, and knowing that yes, our essence and our aura absolutely thrives there. So I'm going to add actually something that I've been doing lately that I find is it makes me feel really vibrant, and it's not something that I've always allowed myself to do, is literally going out into nature without a phone, without my headphones in, without kind of blocking up what I'm looking at, and really taking nature in, like looking at the trees, looking at the birds, looking at the sky, and just really kind of reveling in that and losing myself in it. And it's such a beautiful way to slow down and engage in your projector aura at the same time. I just find that really helpful.
Yes, thank you for adding that. Alongside with play, nature is exactly where we need to be, and she's a beautiful teacher to learn. I tell clients of mine, you know, if you look at nature, birds aren't trying to fly, and grass isn't like, oh my God, I have to grow, and it's not trying. Everything's in sync, and it's effortless. And we are supposed to be effortless as projectors. And because we've been raised as generators, we're like trying to fight and like be able to have as much energy as a generator. And so beautiful what you did. Yeah, going out and just laying in the grass and just being a part of nature, feeling held by the earth, watching the way that everything just kind of is graceful, is probably one of the best teachers you can have as a projector. And also one of the best healers when you're feeling like, oh my God, my head's going crazy and I'm thinking all the time, or like, just too much energy. Get outside, and the earth can actually cleanse you of that. Getting your feet in the grass or the sand or wherever you live, if you can, just again, even if it's 10 minutes or 30 minutes, it can really balance out when we're not feeling aligned or in balance with ourselves.
Definitely. It's something that I feel that I know I have on many occasions taken that completely for granted, but once you've intentionally gone outside, put your face in the sun and your feet on the earth, it shifts something within you. You allow it to. So I think, yeah, that's really, really beautiful. So we've kind of been touching on how to magnetize the projector essence as we've gone through this, you know, going out in nature and, like you said, letting yourself take these 10-minute breaks just to lie down before you move on to the next thing, and finding something you love to learn about. You mentioned that as well. I'd love to just touch on play as projectors before we kind of start to wrap things up, because this is a question we get asked a lot at the projector movement. What even is play? How do I do that? People just don't know how to let go, or they don't know what it is they like to do for play. So I'd love to hear from you just a couple of ideas or tips and tricks to help projectors move into that play zone.
Definitely. I I am still one of them. I have an expertise and I'm still a student as a projector. And that's one of my areas that I've struggled in as well, coming from the corporate world and all of those things. But I would say what I like to invite people to do is go back to when you were 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. What did you love to do? Did you love to dance? Did you love to play make-believe? Did you love Nintendo games? Did you love playing tag outside? Did you like going to the beach? Did you go to parks? Reading, art? What was it that you were so excited to do with your friends? And just, even I've done this before where I'm like, what was my favorite meal when I was 6? And it was chicken fingers and French fries. And I would go to like not like a McDonald's, but something like that, and like get my favorite meal. Now that's not necessarily play, but it's bringing out that inner child to like reconnect with her and be like, what did she love to do? Another thing I encourage people to do if they have connections with children, I have nieces and nephews, and they can really pull out that play in me because it makes me feel a little safer because I'm like, oh, I'm playing with the child versus me outside by myself or with adults. But seeing how they play, observing children and letting that imagination run wild. As projectors, our imagination is very colorful. And so when you can get into that creative stance of whether it's dancing or being outside, making sand castles, drawing, playing basketball or playing a sport if you're athletic, getting yourself out of that linear brain and into the more creative brain is where you are going to actually expand your aura to attract more people.
So the play is magnetizing for us as projectors.
It's healing for us too. It's very healing for us because it gets us into another framework which is less exhausting than if we're in our thinking mind.
Yeah, we're just being, like you said at the start, focus on being, not so much the doing. And I guess, like you just said, think back to when you were younger and what did you love to do? And it might be difficult in your adult mind to think that, oh, is that okay to do? Am I allowed to do that? But what would happen if you just let yourself? So experiment with it and play around with it and just see how it feels for you. And at the start, maybe it does feel really silly, but maybe that's part of the process as well. Maybe you need to push through a limiting self-belief or a boundary that you might have up that you didn't know you had up, a wall, for example, and pushing that down and just opening up a whole new world through play, through finding joy. I think that's incredible. And I'm the same as you, Sarah. I sometimes think, yes, I've been really playful today. And then other times I think, I've been so serious all week and no wonder I'm feeling like, I don't want to interact with the world and I haven't even laughed this week. And we can get into such the serious mode. So I love that notion of play. I think that's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah. And I'll add this too, because this actually can bring up a lot of wounds in people because most of us were taught out of our imagination, or we were taught to put away that aspect of us, whether we were called immature or when are you going to grow up or you need to have a more professional job. And it can bring up some wounds of things that maybe we were made fun of or our parents told us or society told us. And so know that if that's there, to be gentle with yourself and to know that you were never wrong in the first place. It was just someone ultimately maybe trying to help you, but they didn't have the right language. So if we have blocks around play, I would take some time and sit with that block and understand it more. Where did you start to feel that wasn't okay to be that way? And things can come up and whatever's there is perfect for you to be back in relationship with now as you're being guided with projector knowledge to realize that you actually are supposed to nurture this innocent part of yourself or this imagination or this creative side it actually is your birthright to continue to bring this to the world.
Yeah, beautiful. It's just like, yes, sitting with it and letting it come to the surface and feeling through it that way. And yeah, I can imagine that does bring up a lot for people in certain places. If, like you said, the messaging around grow up or whatever it is, that can be very, well, that's the conditioning, isn't it? That's where it starts. So yeah, it's interesting to break that down and see how we can bring play into the forefront of our days. I think that's a really beautiful thing to do. As we go to wrap this up, I'd love to know, have you got any beautiful tips and tricks for us on how projectors can magnetize their essence even further? I know we've just touched on play and having little breaks, but I'd love to know, is there anything else you'd love to add to that?
Yes, there's a few things I'll add. So to magnetize your essence, this is where some of the counterintuitive behaviors come in. I tell people to master restraint, which can feel challenging. So it's challenging until you see how amazing it works when you're able to restrain from speaking or pull back from talking and trusting in your aura to attract. So this takes a lot of self-work because a lot of us have this desire to share, and we see everyone's stuff and we're like, yeah, I can fix you, or I can help you. And we have all of this ability, yet we go unseen, or when we speak, we can push people away. And so if we're trying to really magnetize our projector essence, knowing that your words are as valuable as gold, that is where our value comes in. And so when you're out in the world, not speaking is actually saving your funds, and only speaking when you are invited in and you feel like it's somebody that actually is valuing what you have to say. This one can feel hard at first because it's like, oh my gosh, I'm watching this person do the same thing over and over again. But if they're not asking you, then it's not the right time to speak or share. And then even whatever you do for work, if let's say you're going to a social event, trust in your beingness, trust in that you are different than 80% of the world, and that you shine the brightest when you actually are just in that feminine essence of observing and being receptive. And you'll find that as you can restrain more, number one, you have way more energy. You're not burnt at the rope at the end of the day. And two, the right people eventually come to you because you have an aura that is seductive. You have an aura that people, regardless if you speak or not, are noticing you. However, when you're speaking and you aren't being asked, that's where the projector name comes in. People are seeing you for who you aren't, and your being can actually feel that. And it's frustrating. And that's why we're bitter, because it's like, I'm not even being looked at for the truth of who I am. And we have some ability to control that by pulling back on our speaking so much. Another thing, I think I said this earlier, is let go of a destination. Let go of, oh my gosh, I need to decondition by this place. I need to get a different job by this. Take it day by day. Each day has an opportunity to become more in alignment with yourself, wherever you are on the deconditioning journey. And then let go of being seen, which is like so challenging because we're projectors and we're a bright light and we want to be seen. But it's that energy that can, and I say this with love because I have it too, but it can feel desperate when we're like dying for this thing to happen. We're too attached to the thing and not trusting that life is most likely working it out way better. And so if we're forcing this thing, it's going to create more frustration. So ways to help that process is continue to find things that you love to learn about. If we're feeding that part of ourselves, whether it's learning more about human design, learning a new skill, learning how to play more, submerge yourself in things that you're attracted to, and life typically paves its way to continue to allow you to walk in that way, because life wants us to do what makes us feel good. um, and then the other two things I would reiterate that you brought up would be time in nature, resting and taking breaks, being by yourself. Those will really help that essence draw in the right invitations, and also make you feel that you have energy to be in this world, as quick paced as it is, when you're taking care of yourself.
How amazing is that?
Thank you.
I absolutely adore every single thing you just said there. And I mean, this is why we have this projector aura and this projector essence, but
Mhm.
we fight against it, don't we? And
Yeah,
we want to be seen, and we think, no, this is restrictive. I'm going to say whatever I want. I don't care how it lands. Like, you can't tell
totally.
me what to do.
Yeah.
And yeah, it pushes people away. But I absolutely love all of those tips that you've just shared with us. And I
Yeah.
think that's going to be so helpful to everyone listening. And it's helpful for myself as well, because it's, yeah, it's not about being restricted as a projector like that. It's there for a reason. And
Definitely.
I guess it's just that practice, isn't it? Just practicing
Yes.
when you're in those situations, not saying something and then how does it feel? And, just going from that place. I love it.
Yes, definitely. And this is one other little tip that I learned and I think is so important if it happens to align in your world. Make sure you have, if you can find projector friends. Number one, together we don't exhaust each other. And I was also told by one of my teachers, only receive guidance from a projector if you're looking for help. We need to kind of tag team and support each other, because no one else is going to understand our felt sense of being, or our frustration of not feeling heard or feeling like we're giving so much. And so having that support system is also really beautiful, because yeah, what you share, what I share, what we all share can helps us build an alliance and not feel so alone.
Beautiful. Love it. Find
Yeah,
projector friends. And if
definitely.
you're thinking, I don't know another projector, there are so many wonderful projectors on our Instagram at Projector
Yes.
Movement. Just pop in there and read some of the comments and just kind of jump into a conversation. It's beautiful over there. And people are really, I just love that little community. I feel like everyone's always really willing to help out another projector. And yeah, it's not about forcing our advice onto anyone. It's just saying, hey, I actually really do see you. So if you don't have any
Definitely.
projector friends in your life at the moment, our Instagram is a beautiful place to start. But
Beautiful. Yes, definitely. I've connected with many beautiful projectors, and I find, like you said, everyone's wanting to help each other out. We're all dying to be helpful. So like everyone wants to help and also feel
exactly.
seen, we're not alone. And it's really validating. So thank you for supporting such a beautiful platform for all of us to connect.
Yeah, it's a really great place to be, that's for sure. Well, Sarah, I have absolutely loved this. I know that everyone listening is just going to be feeling like they're on cloud nine after
Oh,
listening
thank
to
you.
this. So
Thank
thank you so
you.
much for joining us.
You're
It's an
so
absolute
welcome.
pleasure to have you on here.
Thank you so much for the invitation. I really appreciate it. I can talk of projectors all day. So thank you so much.
We'll have to get you back on then.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you, Sarah.
You're welcome. Have a good one.
Charlie here from the Projector Movement. I wanted to jump on here briefly and invite you into an experience and opportunity for projectors to decondition. Myself and Sarah are now running live projector deconditioning journeys. So if this is something that you're interested in and you're wanting to embody your soul's truth and purpose throughout your energetics and aura, then this training is for you. The link will be below. As well as this, there'll be a link on the website under courses, and then you'll see the live training there. I look forward to seeing you in the training, and it's going to be a powerful transformational journey. Bye for now.
Thank you for listening. We love that you're here with us. If you're not already part of the community over on Instagram, come and join us at Projector Movement. We have an amazing free webinar for projectors available over on our website, along with some beautiful offerings that serve as a guide in your life and will ignite your projector spirit. Head over to www.projectormovement.com. Until next time, journey well.